Hey everyone, remember when I said that I probably wouldn't be doing every episode of G1 in order? Well, when I originally made that statement, I was thinking mostly of Season 2, because I remember that a lot of those episodes were self-contained, and I forgot how much Season 1 was basically the opposite. That's why I was planning on covering Episode 7, but whoopsies, looks like I accidentally watched Episode 13 instead. In my defense though, the back of the DVD case listed them in this order, and it had been correct thus far, so it's only now that I'm writing the script that I noticed the episodes were actually out of order. So yeah, today we're taking a look at episode 13, Fire in the Sky, and frankly I kinda wanted to cover this episode anyway. It doesn't have any episodes that directly feed into it, so we're fine. This episode was written by 3 people, Dick Robbins, Bryce Malick, and Alfred A. Pagel. I hope I'm saying those all right. This trio also wrote a 3-episode arc in Season 1 that we have yet to cover, but I'm sure we'll touch on at some point, and maybe we'll even find some kind of similarities. With all that said, let's get right into the episode. Season 1, Episode 13, Fire in the Sky. We open on a snowier than usual Autobot base, with Spike and some of the other Autobots playing around, making terrible puns, and having friendly snowball fights.
Hey Spike, you rat on me, I'll splat on you!
Double kill, overkill.
All is well and good until you remember that the Autobot base is in the middle of a desert, and things get even worse when Spike lets us know that it's the middle of July. Optimus seems to be the only one concerned by all this and consults Teletran 1. Teletran lets him know that Earth is very cold, a shocking revelation, I know. Optimus knows this can only mean one thing, that Decepticons are harvesting energy from the Earth's core. There's a 99% chance he's right about the Decepticons, but then again, Earth was in the middle of a Cold War. Yeah, okay. All bad puns aside, we see that Optimus was spot on as the Decepticons blast open another crystal vein in the Arctic that allows them a direct line to the Earth's core. They've been sapping the thermal energy from the core, lowering Earth's temperature considerably, and likely causing a genocide of countless species that are unable to survive extreme conditions, thus ruining Earth's ecosystem forever. There's no time to consider the ramifications of this operation though, because Skywarp bullies Rumble into causing a cave-in which accidentally reveals an unknown Transformer buried in the ice. Meanwhile, the Autobots have caught onto the Decepticons' whereabouts and make their way to the Arctic. Let's be as generous as possible here. Let's say the bots are somewhere in the northern areas of the Great Basin Desert and are headed to the North Pole at 45 miles an hour, which is also generous considering they be mostly driving off-road and in snow. Assuming they drive continuously for 3,200 miles or so in a straight line, they'll have at least 71 hours or almost 3 days to reach the Decepticons. And again, that's being extremely generous and not factoring in stuff like getting stuck, stopping to rest, going around obstacles. Basically what I'm trying to say is that Megatron and the Decepticons are chillin', no pun intended, because there is no way in Primus's name the Autobots will be able to get there in time. Anyways, the Cons have uncovered the mystery Transformer and are attempting to revive him. Starscream seems particularly concerned about him, and reveals that's because he knew the Cybertronian from before the war. Starscream reveals that the Transformer's name is Skyfire, and that he and Starscream used to be scientific explorers before the Great War. On one mission, the two were scouting Earth when a sudden polar vortex caused them to crash, leaving Skyfire frozen in ice. Sounds familiar. Oh, also did I tell you that this story is displayed like a little movie on a tiny TV in Skyfire's brain? It's not really important, but this raises quite a few questions. Skyfire wakes up, dazed and confused, but recognizes Starscream who fills him in. Skyfire is introduced to Megatron, who gives him a quick rundown about how he's good and the Autobots are bad. The Autobots then arrive in the Arctic, meaning one of two things. 1, the Decepticons took their sweet time, or 2, them arriving so soon is complete BS. Skyfire is initiated with the Decepticon symbol, and he's given his first assignment. Given he was just awoken after millions of years and has little to no real loyalty for the Decepticons, is not a soldier, but is a known competent scientist, he is given the very fitting and reasonable job for someone like himself. Patrol the perimeter alone.
Been too long since we've had a good bandit raid.
Skyfire has an interesting conversation with Starscream about if he enjoys his new life as a warrior over that of a scientist, to which Starscream expresses he's actually quite happy. He even shares his ambition to lead one day, knowing that he would want his old partner to be his second in command. Skyfire is still unsure about fighting, but is grateful to Starscream and the Decepticons are rescuing him, and he doesn't want to let his old friend down, so he accepts his new role as a soldier. That's odd. This is some uncharacteristically nice character depth and morally grey writing for this show. Out on patrol, Skyfire encounters vehicles approaching and halts them.
By the order of the Jarl, stop right there.
The vehicles are the Autobots, and upon transforming, Skyfire realizes they're the enemy. Regretfully committing to his new life in war, he opens fire, forcing the Autobots into cover. With his size and strength, he's able to pin them down while Spike and Sparkplug get into some trouble. The two humans are trapped on an ice chunk surrounded by water, but the Autobots are unable to address their cries for help. Skyfire, however, who is curious about humanity, approaches them. He picks them up to help them out, but is confused by their fear and hate towards him. The humans try to explain to Skyfire that the Decepticons are the bad guys who actually want to destroy Earth, which only confuses Skyfire even more. In order to prove they're not evil, Skyfire decides to bring the humans to Megatron. This isn't too dissimilar from when my friend tried to convince me that communism wasn't all that bad, so he brought me to Stalin. Long story short, neither me nor the humans in the show were very convinced and got thrown into a gulag instead.
We've got to find a safer way to rescue them. If there is one.
What? What are you looking at? You looking at me? There's no one else around. You okay? Do you stroke out? You good? Dude, what do you want from me? Dude, what do you want? Oh, we're back. Skyfire doesn't want any harm to come to the humans, but both Megatron and Starscream chastise him for his naivety and promising to protect the humans when he had no authority to do so. Skyfire is internally conflicted about all this, but continues to follow the Decepticons for the time being. The Autobots arrive at the tunnel system the Cons have dug out, but get separated into two teams when the ice breaks out from under them and half the team is dropped into the tunnels below. Team Prime finds the human prisoners and frees them without any resistance whatsoever, while Team Ironhide and friends run into the Decepticons' energy collecting operation. They're quickly spotted, surrounded, and captured as Soundwave deploys Ravage to look for any other intruders. Said intruders are found, but manage to evade Ravage by causing a section of the tunnel to collapse in. Outside, the captured Autobots are lined up for a firing squad, and by squad I mean 2 guys, and by 2 guys I mean 1 guy, because Starscream wants to give Skyfire the honor while also proving his dedication to the cause. Skyfire refuses and denounces fighting the Autobots, to which Starscream accuses him of treason. Starscream blasts Skyfire, knocking him down before he fires on the crystal vein behind the Autobots as well, causing a large explosion which appears to destroy them. Once Starscream leaves, it's shown that the Autobots had actually used Hound's holograms to fake their own deaths. Skyfire is relieved to see the Autobots are okay, but unlike the Autobots, he's not okay. Ratchet and the others move in behind some cover to do repairs while they meet up with Team Prime. Unknown to them, however, Laserbeak has been spying on them and reports to Megatron that they're still alive.
You fool! You fell for the old hologram crystal explosion death trick! Ah, what? Never mind. We need to have a big battle before the episode ends anyway.
And so the big battle commences, with the Seekers opening up with a bombing run. Optimus' trailer turret takes out Skywarp and Thundercracker, but Megatron confronts him and the two battle it out with shards of the crystal. There's actually some pretty cool and unique fight moves we see for this show, but in the end, Optimus has gotten the upper hand. Skyfire approaches behind Optimus, and Megatron believes he's won, but to his surprise, Skyfire just WWE's him out of the scene.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Oh, and also he changed logos, I'm not really sure where he got the Autobot symbol from. Starscream wants to put an end to this, and so the two old friends engage in an aerial battle with both of them getting knocked out of the sky. As Skyfire crashes, he gives everything he has in destroying the crystal vein, stopping the Decepticon energy sapping scheme, but sacrifices himself in the process. The bots and humans take their time to mourn his loss and remember his bravery, and I know what you're all thinking. When does he show up next? Because there's no way he's dead. Guess you'll just have to keep watching all my SMC videos to see if he comes back.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
Fire!
Hey guys, that's Snow Fair!
We now return to the Transformers.
I genuinely enjoyed most of the character writing in this episode and had some nice action moments as well. I actually would recommend checking out this episode if you haven't seen it or are curious about G1. This makes me want to review the other episodes these guys wrote, but we'll get around to that when we get to it. Also, I think I've decided what I want to do with SMC. For now, I'm just going to make episodes every other week so that I have time to do some of the bigger, larger projects I had in mind in between. I may also go back to weekly once school starts, but until further notice, I guess it'll just be bi-monthly. Anyways, leave a like, a dislike, a comment, anything down below, and let me know what you thought. Until next time, have a great week.